Beloved Creator, we call in Creator energy and all the forces for good to assist and bolster us in addressing corrections and removal of hostility, ignorance, or evil. We feel the hand of justice at our backs and we thank you. We acknowledge the hand of protection at our side, and for this and its continuance, we thank you. And we do not give energy to risk and danger, but are instead buoyed by combined strength of knowledge and that of the people, our fellows. Where there is concern or fear, we turn to one another for support. Where there is doubt, there is goal and hope. Where we encounter hostility or rejection, we prevail in the truth and knowledge we have combined into an unassailable force for good. Let it be so, and so it is.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. This is an introduction for our director, Charlie White, and I yield.
So this is an after action recording, and it's regarding our grand jury decision and a presentment that we wrote with a notice of arraignment to numerous people listed in the document, and it was on behalf of Michelle Renee Henderson, who had some horrible things happen to her for what we believe to be no real reason. So there were four of us, which makes our court, our constitutional civilian court of record, Article 3, Amendment 7, court of record. And we had a paper route, basically, that we went because we had to cover several individuals in several municipalities and counties. So it was a full day of traveling. So the four of us, one from Eugene, one from Salem, one from the Beaverton area, and well, actually two from Beaverton, but and then one from Dayton. So we all had to meet up somewhere. So we started out in Sherwood. And it was there that we took, this is our paper route. I'll just show you, we had it all laid out in terms of where we all had to go. So we went to Sherwood, we went to Newburgh, Dundee, Newburgh. Then we went to Hillsborough and to McMinnville. And before we went to Hillsborough, we picked Ray up in Dayton. So the first stop was Sherwood, and Bobby would tell you the story that the gal who took our document. Now, first of all, I'll show what we gave. The first stop, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll just show you what the nature of what we gave. So this is this is to a Newburgh prosecutor, but this is what we gave. This is a copy of the certificate that we had everyone date stamp, and you can see down here is the date stamp. So this is a public service oath for her, and then we have public service oaths for police. Not public service, they're what is it called? Oath for county sheriff. So if it wasn't a county sheriff, then it was a public service oath. So two different slight variations of the same oath. So the first stop we made was Sherwood, and we left it for Police Chief Hanlon. So the story is that Bobby said that he had talked to the gal who took our document, stamp dated ours, and she played with Bobby's child when they were young. So she knows Bobby, and Bobby called her and said we were coming down, and it was really quite funny because they had a little chat. It was very amicable, and she happily stamped our document, and away we went. So from there we went to Newburgh, and we went to the Mooney Court, and it was the Dundee Police. And it was there that we had quite an engagement. They made us wait for a bit because, first of all, the clerk of the court there, Wendy Looney, and this is hers, And then we left it also for Larry Blake Jr., who's the judge for the Mooney Court, Municipal Court in Newburgh. So we left these 2 documents along with 3 for the sheriffs there. And one of them was the police chief. So that wasn't the sheriff, I'm sorry, a police chief, police officer, and both. So 2 police officers and the police chief. The police chief came out with another officer. We had quite a long, lovely, engaged conversation with them. And, they were there for appeasing us, cautioned us for raising our voices, but they recognized the passion. And we had a lot of requests in terms of how we were going to, because he directed us twice to the DPSST, which is the Leo Training Center for all of the law enforcement people, the sheriffs, the police, whatever. And that's the point that we got really stuck on, because we cannot get to them. We've engaged with them. Brandon and Bobby have both contacted them, met with them, have gone there twice, and had been sent out by who was sent out was a rep, like almost like a public service servant, public service rep, who was willing to engage with them, but they couldn't get past them. And then they won't allow us to meet with or schedule or in any way communicate with the DPSST. So we're still trying to figure that one out. I asked if the police chief would please give us a word, like get some kind of word in that this is important. We need to engage with these people who think they have authority over us, and we need to be able to sit down across the table and talk to them. Well, the beauty of what happened was that we got in all of that conversation, because we started talking about the oaths, which is what we were delivering everywhere. Asked if we could see their oath because we don't believe they have one. And the officer said, "Oh, yes, we do, in fact." So he went to get one, and then he went to get another one, which he thought was more current. And what we noticed in theirs, which is really obvious, because with us dealing with the people, and they are dealing with the people, we would hope they think they are, but actually in their oath, it doesn't mention the Oregon Constitution. It says the statutes of the state of Oregon and the laws of the city. But that has nothing to do with our Oregon Constitution, which is about the people, which we are in Article 1, Section 1, significant part of the Oregon Constitution. That is written into our Oregon Constitution, which maybe not all of them are on every state and territory, but in ours, it's the first article, first section, first article. So it's really important that they recognize the difference between the constitutions, the statutes, why they have statutes. That's not lawful, not according to us, not according to the original Constitution. So that's why we developed and worked on the kind of oath that we wanted them to read. And I'll just read what we have here for the public service oath. For the peace, safety, and happiness of the souls of the men, women, and their progeny on Oregon. And then they state, I wrote their name in this case, serving as whatever their job is, on our municipality or county on Oregon, do solemnly swear or affirm that it is my privilege and duty to support and uphold, defend, and enforce original jurisdiction in the constitutions, both circa 1859. And I pledge to apply Oregon's lawful statutes and ordinances with compassion, and in all of my conduct, do so with honesty and dedication as in the laws of nature and of nature's God. Of course, we wanted them to sign at that time or to engage in a conversation with us. The Newburgh police chief was the only one of them all who was available for us to actually engage. And so everyone else, we just left the oath with someone who date stamped and said they would get it to them, to the intended person. So we traveled quite everywhere. We picked Ray up before we went to Hillsboro, and then we went to McMinnville. So he was on the good part of the leg of that trip. So at this juncture, I'd just like to open it up. There are several on the call. Here's Ron and here's Brandon, who were there today. If you would like to engage, please share whatever, fill in whatever you want to say about this journey we took today. It was a long one. We just got home at about 5 o'clock, 5:30. So I'd like to open it up for any questions or comments, follow up, fill in.
Actually, there was 5.5 of us because Carmen was there again. That little girl is something.
She's great.
Yeah. We had a really important time today. It was tough. It was hard. It was snowing on top of the hill. Rained all day. Bobby drove probably 400 miles today. Brandon probably drove over 200. Charlie probably drove over 200. We went to a lot of places. And boss, you ought to read the list off. It was incredible, the number of people we served and the number of courts and places and sheriffs and police departments we went. And among all the things that we've done, this was a good one. Stand and deliver was well done. I yield. You're muted, boss.
Thank you. Yeah, we didn't go to challenge anyone. We didn't go to demand or anything. This was a follow-up on the presentment, and this gave them an opportunity to engage with us, which was a notice of arraignment, because we are going to have a petite jury trial, and it does involve all of them. And no one really denied anything or engaged in the document that they received that we mailed to them with a green card. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But at any rate, today was really a good flow. So this one was to the clerk of the court, clerk of Newburgh Municipal Court. So there's a woman there, a judge in the Newburgh Municipal Court. Should I name them?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So Wendy Looney, clerk of Newburgh Municipal Court. Larry Blake Jr., Judge, Newburgh Municipal Court. Jeff Kosmicki, Newburgh Dundee Police Chief. Jeff Moreland, Newburgh Dundee Police Officer. Brian Hagan, Newburgh Dundee Police Officer. Gene Schuback, Newburgh City Prosecutor. Jason Christensen, Sherwood Police Sergeant. Sean Perry, Sherwood Police Officer. Christopher Pierce, Sherwood Police Officer. Ty Hanlon, Sherwood Police Chief. Caprice Massey, Washington County. What is her? Oh, yeah, she's the police chief.
I think she's
Police
the
chief.
sheriff, isn't she?
Or sheriff. Yeah,
Washington
I'm sorry.
County
Yeah, you're
Sheriff.
correct. Yep, Washington County Sheriff. Thank you. and Brad Berry, Esquire, Yamhill District Attorney, and Samuel J. Elliott, Yamhill County Sheriff. And so that was who we served. So it'll be interesting to see what comes back and how that gets followed up on before we have our trial. So there it is.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
The Esquire guy. How did you see him? How did he
See,
deal?
we didn't, no, we only engaged in the Newburgh Muni Court because everyone else was not available. But actually, that officer did come out, Jeff Kozmicki, and one other officer came out and talked with us in the lobby at great length. I think we were there for probably a good hour, and 45 of that was engaging with them, I would say, estimate. But I think that's about how much it was. 30 at least, but probably more like 40 minutes where we actually stood and talked with them, which was great. So everyone else was not available. So we had them signed for and left for them.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, do you want to fill in? You might want to point out one thing that you noticed when we were toward the end there.
Yeah, when we were at the McMinnville,
Yamhill. Yeah.
or yeah, McMinnville, right?
Yeah.
Court, or no, sheriff's office.
Mhm.
They were struggling to even be willing to stamp a receipt on there, but we told them that, or Charlie really told them that, it's pretty imperative that they do that because that's our receipt, and they were still kind of reluctant. I stepped in and said something to them as well. She finally agreed to do it, and then asked her name because she didn't seem too willing to want to participate at all for whatever reason. I think she might have been concerned for her own what she was doing and not being quite aware of what she was doing. So then she wrote her name down on one of their cards, but she wrote down a name, and it seemed a little suspicious to me. So I asked her, "Is that you?" And she kind of like was like, "Yeah, I'm giving you the name." And I wrote down there, and then I looked on the board because I just so happened to pass by as we were walking out, a board that had all of their like pictures with their names underneath, and so I was looking for that name. I didn't see it right off the bat. But I did see that. Oh, I noticed that the name that was on her jacket was slightly covered towards the end, and so I was looking for that name on the board, and I found that name, and had taken a video of it, but it didn't match the name that she wrote down, which was interesting to me. And then me and Charlie, and we were looking through the whole rest of them just to see if we could come up with the name that she wrote down, and it wasn't on there anywhere. So she either gave us a false name that doesn't exist or someone else's name. And so that was pretty concerning.
Well, the other thing happened at the Muni Court where you asked the woman at the window, young woman, who had received the documents and then passed them over to Looney, who's the clerk court, who was there. And then they disappeared with them and contacted the people that they were intended for. And while we were waiting, and we waited quite a while before they actually came out, Brandon was asking her name because she's the one that took them and, took them back. And she resisted giving her name. She said, "I don't know why I would have to give you my name." So they really don't like to be transparent. They really don't like to be in a position of dealing with the public. I will just say that, they're supposedly there at the service window to perform a service for those of us who are coming to them for whatever said service. But there's reluctance. Some of them are friendly and cheerful, but it depends on what you're asking of them. And then particularly if they don't understand what it is you're there for, because it's not in their mainstream of paperwork. They're not accustomed to what it is that we're doing. And resistant. They are resistant, I will also add. So I wanted to follow up with this. Okay, Cynthia, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say they're not accountable. They don't want to be accountable.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, they'll put a friendly face sometimes. In the case of the Mooney court, the police officers there were nice. You know, they kept saying, you know, we're listening, or you're interrupting me, or whatever. So there was this kind of rugged engagement, but we got through it, and it was long, which was good. We appreciated them at least hearing us and communicating. We had a lot of back and forth communication. It was decent. So this oath, I just wanted to read it because I think it's interesting and very different than the one I read that we designed, I guess you'd say. I, Jeffrey C. Kosmicki, do solemnly swear to preserve and enforce the Constitution of the United States of America, the statutes of the state of Oregon, and the laws of the city of Newburgh, and that I will, to the best of my ability, abide by the law enforcement code of ethics. That's all in first letter capitals. The canons of police ethics, which is also first letter in capitals, and the rules and regulations of the Newburgh Police Department, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of reserve police officer of the city of Newburgh during my continuance therein, so help me God. Sworn this 9th day of May 1996 was his in particular. So we were grateful to have it because it's been difficult to get any of their oaths. And they should be publicly displayed, signed, and not just with a hand in the air and repeating after someone, but literally having it posted, you know, and available to the public, transparent.
And they had God included in theirs.
Yes, they did.
Because they're not all like that.
No, they're not.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Now this one was the 9th day of May 1996. This one is different. It's more recent. Sworn this day of 2023. So listen to this one. It's different. I do solemnly swear to preserve and enforce the Constitution of the United States of America, the statutes of the state of Oregon, and the laws of the cities of Newburgh and Dundee, that I will, to the best of my ability, abide by the law enforcement code of ethics, the canons of police ethics, and the rules and regulations of the Newburgh Dundee Police Department, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of police officer of the cities of Newburgh and Dundee during my continuance therein, sworn this day of 2023. No God.
Charlie, is that a capital T when they say the United States of America? What is the
No,
upper and
Yes.
lower case on that?
no, it's just the United, capital U, capital States of America, each first letter. And the same for the other one. Both of them have the lowercase t without.
Yeah, a
Question
bogus entity.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say. If there's anything more you want to share, it was really I felt a very important day for us to have done this and engage, because the way we're looking at this is, you know, they need to hear from the public. They need to know if they're interfacing with us all the time. And I feel like they're leaping out of the shadows and not disclosing. And we're being as transparent and open and wanting to be engaging as possible. And we feel when we go into their buildings, and I'll just put it that way, they should be our buildings, but they're their buildings, that they feel threatened by us. And it shouldn't be that way. They should be willing and open to engage with us in a pleasant way, instead of being, you know, all puffed up with their uniforms sticking out. Yeah, Laura.
Yeah, it's not quite a friendly world out there anymore, if it ever was. I have a question in regards to, did you guys give your presentation cards to them in each
Yeah.
place? So they are now aware of us if they hadn't been.
Yes, we gave some places cards, not everywhere, but certainly where we had engaged with them. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Are we going to do anything similar like this for Jason in
I
his
think we need to.
situation?
I think we
Oh, I
certainly
do
need to.
too.
Absolutely. No, we need to do this regularly because it's an education. The importance of giving this certificate, this oath document, is that it's a point of conversation. You know, it's something that gets their attention. It's like, what is this? You know, I mean, it's not a, it's actually quite a nice thing. I mean, if you look at it, it's got our seal and it's got our emblem, our seal. And, you know, ideally, if they were to literally take this oath, they would sign it and thumbprint it, and then they would print their name and date it like we do all of our documents. And then there's the jurat on the bottom where there would be 4 witnesses from our court so that it is truly an official court record. And it's attractive enough that it should and could be and should be framed for their office or for the lobby or for whomever wants to see what they are about and what they represent. But what they represent in their oath is not what we want them to understand that they represent. They need to represent and be considerate of the public and the people as human beings, not as people who have to follow statutes and codes. And if we don't mind every P and Q, we're going to get a ticket, or we're going to end up in jail, or if there's a warrant, they're going to put us. You know, who knows? So this is a way to engage, a way to educate, and hopefully make a difference. Laura.
I totally agree, and I see the beauty in this. Um, and I'm wondering if this is the first time we're addressing police officers. That's one question. The other is a comment that by leaving the paper, the oath with their name on it, which looked beautiful, by the way, Charlie, um, uh, if they don't rip it up and throw it away right away, they get to read it, and it may sink in. I yield
Thank
to the.
you. Yeah, thank you. And the way we left it was, this is just a follow-up from the document that we already mailed them. So we're just following up. We're here as promised on the day that we stated in the document that was already mailed and received by this person that we're leaving this for. So all we need is for you to stamp a date stamp that you received this document for our record. And then a couple places said, well, why do I need to do that? And I said, because we're a court of record. We're an Article 3 court of record. And we need it for our records, that we have fulfilled what we said we would do. Go ahead, Ron.
That one cop in Sherwood, the one Bobby was talking to,
Yeah,
when we gave him our cards and then we had him turn the card over and read the back of it.
that
He
was in
want
Newburgh. I'm sorry, I'm correcting you. That was in Newburgh. Sherwood, we
yeah,
didn't talk
yeah,
to anyone. Yeah, go ahead.
right. He turned it over and read the back of it, and then he asked us about a judge, and we
Right.
explained to him there isn't any judges. Go ahead and read Article 3. Read the back of it. Read Article 1, Section 1. There are no judges involved. This is our court. Whoopee, the whole attitude changes.
Yeah, and then the other thing that he asked after that was, he looked at us and he said, well, do you have a lawyer, an attorney? Who's your attorney? We just
Who
cracked up.
represents you?
Yeah, who represents us? I know, because we're so trained, right, as a public to always depend on the attorney or the lawyers. And so we were able to tell them the story, Cynthia, of our trip to Providence when we went with your stack of papers to have a conversation with two heads of that hospital, the nurse and the director, and they would not engage, only if we were talking about your mom as the patient, but nothing else. And it was referred and deferred to their attorneys, which is, it's just where we go, everywhere we go. It's all sewed up. There's no way to communicate. And in fact, we're told, no, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you, or, you'll have to talk to our attorney, or I need to talk to my attorney. It always goes to the attorneys, and it's a shutout. Yeah, Ron and Brent.
I also noticed they would say one person in the lobby of the records room, and
Mhm.
they wouldn't open the door to the administrative offices of Washington County Sheriff's Office, and they wouldn't open the door to the executive offices of the Washington County Sheriff's Office. And when we went into the detective's office and the detective came out to talk to us, he didn't know how to respond to why is that you have these doors locked and we can't talk to people. Oh, well, they have excuses, but they have no answers. And I yield.
Yeah, the sheriff's office was locked, and they said, well, they must be at lunch. Well, it was, why wouldn't they have one person there staffing the door, the desk, whatever? It doesn't make sense. So we had to go to a different department, and they called down a sheriff who probably was there, maybe. I don't know, but it was weird. Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add that it was also interesting that a couple of these places we went to, whenever we would go into the room, whether it was the records office where the investigator was there at the which one was that place? Together.
Yeah,
Washington County.
it's Washington County,
Washington
yeah.
County, which is a beautiful department, by the way. I mean, just a palace.
Elaborate.
It almost looks
Yeah.
like Caesar's Palace in Vegas, if you ask me. And then we went to the other one, and it just seems like for two or three of the places were one person at a time in the room, and it makes you wonder. Well, kind of makes it obvious to us, but they want to keep people separated so that other people don't hear what's going on. If somebody were to come in and stir something up a little bit or ask some serious questions, and then it was interesting. I feel like at the Newburgh location, I don't know if this was already brought up, but they wanted to defer us to DPSST of all places, which was interesting.
Yeah,
And
right.
we said about that, as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
we
Quite
haven't
a
been able to communicate with them. We've been in there twice, and they don't want to talk to us. They're not willing to. And so we were looking at Charlie and Ron. We were looking at like finding avenues to how can we sit down with somebody. And since you're saying this, I mean, you don't obviously know this firsthand, because if you did, you'd realize that these people aren't willing to talk to us either. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I told him, I said that the very unfortunate thing here is that you're dealing with the people, but you're not really communicating with us. There's no way. I said, there's a lot of anger out here in the community when we can't engage with the people who are pushing authority over us. And we can't communicate, and there's no way to engage as people to people, face to face. We've been isolated, separated, and controlled out of that system of authority, and it's not right. Go ahead, Ron.
I'm sorry. My hand's down.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, I think we've pretty much covered it. I just really feel that today was a very positive day. Go ahead, Laura.
I'm sorry. I have a fun one to throw out.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering, Brandon, how your daughter saw this, and I think that we ought to give her a presentation card to have her on her own.
That would be great.
that would be cute and good. I
Yeah.
like it, but it's a lot for her. She's her mind, and she's a child. As far as she's sitting there patiently the whole entire time. Honestly, I mean,
Yes.
as best as a child can do. And
Amazing.
yeah, I did try to reaffirm with her on the way home. I said, thinking about it, you should be very thankful if you think about what we did today. You might just one day be a grandma or a great grandma, and you'll be telling your great grandchildren one day that you were part of creating history. This what we were doing is never been done before, and probably the entire nation, if not the world. So you're the only child that's been present for this, and you should feel proud to know that you're standing up with us and you're there. And
How
then
did,
it dawned on her.
how did
Yeah.
she take that? Did she get it?
She had a
Understand?
smile on, and she was like, I think it got her thinking about the situation and the importance of what we're doing, and helped her
Mhm.
realize that you know she's in a place where she's very lucky to be. So
Yeah,
I think she got it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
Give it a few
Well,
years before it really sinks in, though.
yeah, yeah. It will. Oh wow, it will. It's so cool. Cool.
all
Good
right,
job,
everyone.
you guys. Good job.
Thank you. Thanks for being on the call, and hopefully this will be
Thank you,
recorded and
guys.
made available. Yeah, you bet. We missed you, Cynthia. It was
I
really,
I missed being there. That's exciting, though. That's
yeah.
really um I think that um go, going forward, we really need to keep track of these places that we've been to and served all this stuff, because it's
Mhm.
just about time to actually reach out to somebody in the news. And I think that if they realize, and we have this, what am I trying to say? We have all these times that we've approached and tried to talk to people and we've been refused, that would be interesting to them, that our government will
Mhm.
not speak to the people.
That they're not
Yes,
But,
open and
spread.
available.
now we've done it enough.
Mhm.
Like we've done it. And if we go down and we do the Eugene area, like for Jason,
Yes.
that's we've hit some of the
Mhm.
main and biggest populated, most populated counties.
Yes. Yeah,
So
agreed. Yeah, that's
I
right.
I
Yeah.
think that's just a little. It's a little side note, but I
Mhm.
had to say it while it was in my brain. You know how that goes.
I'm glad you
All
did.
right.
Thank you, Cynthia.
All right.
Go ahead, Ron. You had something?
No, I think we did good.
Okay.
Did
All
real
right,
good.
everyone. Yeah, I think the idea is to just keep one step and then another step and keep engaging, trying to engage with these persons who really don't want engagement. Because that's where it's important to. It's just like social media versus face to face, meeting up with each other and sharing our energy. Tone of voice and expression of face is very different when we're face to face than on a screen. So and sometimes you can't even get a screen. But if we do what we did today, more of us do it, and just have a conversation. Try to educate them and, ask questions and have them ask you questions. It's really powerful and it really does make a difference. I really believe that. So thank you everyone for being here and for participating and for listening.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying, and then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, "Just shoot me then. This is what you want, just shoot me." And they did. They shot him dead with his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air, and they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.